Pain is misunderstood. That's the first mistake most people make. They treat it like an enemy, something to be avoided, denied, or numbed. But the truth is, and pain is a messenger. And not just any messenger. It's the most honest, most reliable, and most transformative force in your life. When you stop running from it and start listening to it, everything changes. The problem is, we're conditioned to believe that good life is the painless life. From a young age, we're taught to seek pleasure, avoid discomfort, chase comfort. But comfort never created anything powerful. It never made anyone great. Pain, on the other hand, that's where the real work begins. That's where strength is born. If you trace every story of real success, real resilience, real greatness, you will always find a season of pain that became the turning point. Because pain has a way of stripping away the distractions. It peels back the noise and exposes what really matters. You don't find out who you are when everything is going well. You find out who you are when everything feels like it's falling apart. And that's why pain is the teacher. It reveals you to you. It shows you what's weak so you can strengthen it. It shows you what's fake so you can burn it. It shows you what's broken so you can rebuild it stronger. When you're in pain, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, you are being invited to step into a deeper level of awareness. You're being shown something you need to face, something you need to change, something you need to overcome. It might be your thinking. It might be your habits. It might be the people around you. Pain always points to the part of you that's ready to evolve. But here's the key. Only if you're willing to stop running and start learning. Because most people don't learn from pain. They distract themselves from it. They drown it in noise, in vices, in excuses. And in doing so, they miss the lesson. They delay their growth. They live the same year over and over and call it a life. That's not power. That's paralysis dressed in routine. Pain is not a punishment. It's preparation. It's the fire that forges you, the weight that shapes you, the pressure that sharpens your edges. The very thing you're trying to escape might be the one thing that can set you free, if you let it. That moment of heartbreak, that failure, that rejection, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of your rise, if you had the courage to see it that way. Think about it. Every time life knocked you down, it also gave you something. A boundary, a new level of grit. You don't grow in the absence of adversity. You grow when you face it head-on, when you stand in the middle of the fire and decide not to run. You grow when you make pain your ally, not your excuse. You know, there's a power in choosing to suffer for something meaningful. There's dignity in deciding that the discomfort is worth the growth. Athletes do it, creators do it, leaders do it. The difference isn't that they don't feel pain, it's that they don't waste it. They use it. They turn it into fuel. They let it shape their discipline, their purpose, their future. You're not supposed to like pain, but you are supposed to respect it. Because once you understand that pain isn't there to destroy you, but to develop you, you start walking into your struggles with a different posture. You stop asking, "Why me?" and stop asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift alone will take you from victim to victor. Pain will come. That's a fact. But suffering is what happens when you resist the lesson, when you try to skip the growth, when you avoid the work. But if you lean in, if you embrace it with courage, you'll discover that pain is not the end of your story. It's the doorway to your next chapter. And on the other side of it is a version of you that's wiser, tougher, and more unshakable than you ever imagined. So no, pain is not your enemy. It's your coach. It's your refiner. It's your silent partner in becoming everything you were meant to be. When you stop fearing pain, you start unlocking your real power. When the storm comes, when life hits hard and everything inside you wants to react, scream, run, collapse. That's the moment. That is the moment you either fall apart or forge yourself into something unshakable. And the secret isn't in the fight, it's in the stillness. You see, when you're in pain, most people think the solution is to move faster, to force a way out, to fill the silence. But power doesn't come from panic. Power comes from poise, from the calm inside the chaos. Stillness is not weakness, it's not retreat. Stillness is control, it's clarity. It's the space, atulus and response, where your future is shaped. In suffering, when the noise is deafening, the world will tempt you to lash out, to blame, to numb yourself, to act without thinking. But if you can sit with it, if you can breathe, slow your thoughts, and remain present, you rise above the storm, you stop being ruled by it, and you start ruling yourself. Every trial in your life comes with two choices: react blindly or respond with discipline. And that discipline, mental discipline, is not built when everything is comfortable. It's built when everything hurts, when yet you choose silence over shouting, patience over panic, awareness over impulse. That's the foundation of steel. That's how character is constructed. Not in the ease of comfort, but in the restraint of pressure. The world doesn't teach this. The world teaches emotional gradations. You scent gratification. You stub your toe, you yell. Someone criticizes you, you defend. Life breaks your plans, you spiral. But what if, just once, you didn't? What if you held the line? What if, instead of crumbling, you paused, felt the pain, and didn't let it define your next move? You'd be dangerous in the best way, because no one could control you but you. Stillness in suffering isn't denial. It's deliberate. It's a choice to face the full intensity of what hurts without letting it compromise your integrity. It's not that you don't feel. It's neat, you feel everything, and you keep your footing anyway. That's power most people never taste, because they run too quickly. They reach for distractions, for comforts, for shortcuts that cost them their growth. But you, if you can learn to stand still in the middle of pain, you'll access a part of yourself most never will. You learn things in stillness that don't learn in motion. You start hearing the voice beneath the noise. The real you. Not the anxious, fear-driven, reactive self, but the calm, centered self that isn't shaken by circumstance. That self doesn't shout, it doesn't beg, it doesn't break. It waits, it watches. And when it speaks with direction, not desperation. Think of steel. How is it forged? By fire, yes, but also by control. Heat alone doesn't make it strong. It's the tempering, the cooling, the stillness under pressure that gives it resilience. Your mind is the same. Suffering will apply the heat. Stillness will give it shape. Without it, you stay raw, reactive, brittle. But with it, you become untouchable. And this isn't about appearing calm to the world. This is about being calm within yourself, even when the world is watching you fall. It's easy to pretend strength. It's harder and far more valuable to embody it. That kind of strength is silent. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. It shows up in how you carry yourself when everything hurts, in how you speak when your heart is breaking, in how you stay rooted when your plans collapse. That's the steel we're talking about. You want to be great. Learn to be still when it would be easier to collapse. Learn to be disciplined when it would be easier to escape. Learn to own your emotions instead of being owned by them. That is where mental toughness is forged, not in the gym, not in the books, not in the spotlight, but in those dark, quiet, painful moments where no one's watching and you choose not to run. That's your edge. Stillness is strategy. It's not a pause from life. It's the position from which you command it. So when suffering comes, don't fear it. Don't rush it. Sit with it. Feel it. Let it teach you what chaos never could. Let it sharpen your instincts, deepen your patience, fortify your presence. Because in stillness you don't just survive the pain, you master it. And once you've mastered your pain, the world has nothing left it can against you. Everyone wants growth. Everyone talks about becoming stronger, wiser, more successful, but very few are willing to pay the price. And that price is discomfort. Real, stretching, soul-deep discomfort. Because that's the currency of growth. That's the toll at the gate of transformation. You don't evolve in ease. You evolve when life pushes you somewhere unfamiliar, when your mind wants to quit. But something deeper in you decides to keep walking. Growth never comes cheap. You want clarity. You'll have to endure confusion first. You want strength. You'll have to meet your weakness and keep going anyway. You want peace. Then face your inner chaos without running from it. This is the trade. There is no way around it. The people who rise, who truly rise, are not the ones who seek comfort. They're the ones who get uncomfortable on purpose. They lean into it. They choose, because they know the discomfort is where life breaks them open and builds something stronger inside. You're not going to grow by staying in the same room, surrounded by the same voices, doing the same things. Growth is going to ask you to go places you've never been, internally and externally. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to feel lost. You're going to wonder if you're even cut out for the journey. But that doubt, that's part of the path. The moment you stop feeling it, you've stopped climbing. Because the edge of your ability is always where growth lives, not behind you, ahead. And when discomfort shows up, it doesn't announce itself, it pushes in. It brings uncertainty. It shakes your routines. It exposes what you've been avoiding. It reveals where you're fragile. And that's exactly why you need it. Because what stays hidden stays weak. What gets exposed gets tested, and what gets tested gets strengthened. If you let it, you've got to stop running from pain and start seeing it for what it is: the process, the forge, the pressure that breaks the old you so the new you can rise. That isn't poetic, it's practical. Think of any area in your life where you've grown, really grown. Was it painless? Was it easy? No, it stretched you. It cracked you open. It demanded more from you than you thought you had. And when you didn't back down, when you leaned in instead of escaping, that's when it happened. That's when you changed. So you're uncomfortable right now. Good, you're in the right place. If you're uncertain, perfect. You're on the edge of expansion. Don't bump it. Don't distract yourself from it. Don't reach for the easy exit. Because the longer you avoid discomfort, the longer you delay your evolution. But if you face it head on, you accelerate it. You start to develop something deeper than talent. You develop grit, you develop presence, you develop self-trust. And that self-trust, that's the real reward. Not the money, not the praise, not the achievement. The real gift of discomfort is that it reveals to you that you are capable of withstanding more than you ever thought possible. It proves to you, through experience, that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to stay in the fight. You just have to breathe through the chaos and keep moving. You think the great ones weren't scared. They were. You think they didn't suffer. They did. But they didn't turn away. They didn't fold when it got hard. They let it shape them. They let discomfort carve out the space inside them for something greater. And that's what you're being called to do. Right now, not when it feels good, not when it's easy, but now when it burns, now when it stings. That's where your next level lives. So, if you're looking for shortcuts, you're looking in the wrong direction. There are none. If you're waiting for it to feel right before you act, you'll be waiting forever. Discomfort is not a sign to stop. It's the signal that you're stepping into unfamiliar territory. And unfamiliar territory is when new strength is born. You want new results. You've got to endure new resistance. Remember, comfort is seductive. It whispers to you that you've done enough, that you deserve a break, that growth can wait. But that voice, it's a thief. It robs you of the power that's waiting on the other side of your struggle. Don't listen. Get up. Lean in. Pay the price. Every ounce of discomfort is buying your next breakthrough. If you want to grow, you've got to get uncomfortable and stay there until growth has done its work. Pain doesn't choose you. Life happens. Accidents, betrayal, loss, failure. These aren't personal attacks. They're just part of existence. But here's the secret that segregates the weak from the strong, the bitter from the powerful. You choose what pain means. You decide how it shapes you. You decide if it breaks you down or builds you up. That is your power, not to avoid the suffering, but to assign it meaning that fuels you rather than destroys you. You see, most people live like victims of their own pain. They say, "Why me?" They carry it like a burden, letting it define them, letting it be the excuse for why they can't move forward. But there's another way to live, a higher way. You can take that same pain, the exact same suffering, and make it your training ground. You can look it in the eye and say, "You will not beat me. You will teach me. You will not stop me. You will sharpen me." Because pain is neutral until you give it a name, until you give it a direction. Every moment you suffer, every hardship you face, it can either drain you or drive you. It can leave scars or forge armor. And the difference isn't in the pain itself. It's in the decision you make in the middle of it. Will you let it close your heart or open your mind? Will you let it make you fragile or will you rise with grit? Most people don't understand that this choice exists. They think the pain makes them who they are. But no, pain only reveals who you are when you're tested, and it gives you a mirror. It gives you a chance to become someone better than you were before. And if you choose to look deeper, pain gives you something that pleasure never can: clarity. You see what really matters. Use real. You see what parts of yourself need work. And in that clarity, you are given the rarest opportunity, a rebirth. So many people carry pain like a curse, not realizing it can be a calling. That heartbreak you experienced, it taught you what you truly value. That failure you faced, it stripped away your ego so you could build real skill. That betrayal, it showed you where you were blind and gave you vision. But you only see that if you're willing to step outside the narrative that says pain is punishment. Pain is not punishment. Pain is a signal. It says, pay attention. It says, there is something here that must be faced. You can choose to assign pain a higher purpose. You can use it to build discipline, to anchor your resolve, to deepen your character. Pain can make you more compassionate or more callous. That's your call. Pain can isolate you or unite you with others who've suffered. That's your call. Pain can freeze you or free you. That's your call. What it does to you isn't fate. It's your interpretation. Your response is the only thing that gives it shape. You will not go through life untouched. You will lose. You will bleed. You will fall. That is certain. But what is not certain is whether those experiences become wounds that define you or wisdom that refines you. That is up to you. That is your decision. And when you realize that power, you stop being afraid of pain. You stop avoiding it. You meet it with open eyes and steady hands, knowing that within it is the raw material of your strength. Greatness is not found in ease. It is found in the people who refuse to give their pain the power to destroy them. It's found in those who stew the fire and didn't come out bitter. They came out brighter. They took the heat and let it forge discipline, compassion, courage. They didn't wait for pain to leave. They learned to walk with it, learn from it, and let it shape them. You may not choose what happens to you, but you always choose what it means. And in that choice lies your liberation.